Bait and switch. Yes, another bait and switch. Hickok 45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful greening hills of Tennessee. Yes, Tennessee, the home of, how about Marsha Blackburn this week? Yes, Tennessee, glad you're here. Yes, she proposed a law this week that makes it, I think, a federal crime to block bridges and roads and kidnap people in their cars, block their passageway. It's basically kidnapping. It's basically imprisoning somebody, right? So anyway, regardless of your politics, that was great, I thought. Anyway, glad you're here. It is a Sunday shoot around, and we are creeping up towards the end of April. Yeah, get my months right. Glad that you could come out and enjoy the greening of America, at least Tennessee. Yeah, you can probably see a difference between this week and last week. I found the time this week we're getting on and off rain, that I'm able to get out and have a little fun between the rain and in the sun, between the rainstorms and drizzling rain and that kind of thing. So yeah, man, you can really see a difference in the trees, can't you? Very green, kind of a yellow green. Yeah, I'm a botanist. Early spring, you get a little bit of yellowish green, don't you? Then later you get the greener things become. So anything you want to know about science, botany, I'm your man. So glad you're here, and I did another bait and switch. Those of you who have been around a while, some of you could answer why I do the bait and switch like that. What you see in the thumbnail is not what you get as the video opens. Why is it that I do that? Now come on, it's probably been, I don't know what, 3 or 4 times over the years that I have done that. And there's always a good reason. You know, I don't do dumb things. Maybe I do dumb random things occasionally, but there's a reason for that. And yeah, some of you know, I hear you whispering it. It's probably because I have a firearm that's not been fired yet. And I want you to experience, or to know you are experiencing the first shots. You know, rather than my having to just tell you, oh, by the way, that was the first time I'd ever fired that firearm. Maybe anybody had, just so you'll know. No, I like for us to experience it together. All right, I've got a Bisley model Ruger Vaquero 45 Colt. So I was firing the correct cartridge, but the incorrect gun, at least as relates to the thumbnail, right? So you've probably seen these maybe in a gun shop or online or something. It's got the Bisley grip, kind of the target grip, and it's got a different hammer, but mostly it's Ruger Vaquero. And you know, in my recent short I apologize for just having one 44 Magnum Ruger. I do have other Rugers, you know, GP 100, I mean, you name it, 22 caliber pistols, there's several, but just the 144 Magnum. And do I even have any 45 Colt Ruger? Well, I do have the Blackhawk, yeah. It was the first centerfire handgun I ever bought, but it's, you know, just like it, not the same one. You've seen that, I hope. But here I am, being a single action nut, right? No other way to say it. I'm a single action nut. And I think I'm a cowboy. So, you know what the Spanish word for cowboy is? Vaquero. How come I don't have a Vaquero? How come I don't own? I have owned some in the past. In fact, I had 2 of these, and I had a couple of the standard that I competed with. And I've been spraying myself down, and my nose trying to bleed. I'm sneezing, and I'm not really. I don't suffer too much from allergies. John does, but I get out maybe I haven't been out much on a particular day, and of course all the pollen in the air, bush hogging or mowing, and you get a little more of it. And then what really does it though, I think, is when I'm out in this kind of weather, is I really over-treat with the Avon stuff, both the regular lotion and even the stronger oil or whatever it's called. Before I get out here messing around, tromping around, I'll put some of that on my ankles and legs and arms, and even around my neck and stuff, because it's a little bit stronger. I try not to get it in my eyes, but you know how that goes. You touch your eye once or something. And then I developed kind of an allergic reaction to that more than the pollen that's in the air. So anything else you want to know about that? So where was I? When I got into cowboy action shooting, I had an old Colt, not in very good shape, and I had a Schofield. That was 97. Yeah. And I don't know, the first 2 or 3 matches, I shot those, and saw everybody else shooting a pair matched of something, you know, and so I scraped together some money. I was teaching at the time, and I got 2 Rugers. Man, I'll tell you, I have to try to remember. I think I got the Vaqueros, the Bisleys first. That's right, because I remember my first match in Chattanooga and all that. They were this gun, 2 of them, and I even got stag grips for them. You imagine, back when you could get stag grips without mortgaging your house, I had stag grips on both those suckers. And wow, those grips would be worth more than the firearm now. And I traded those, sold them somebody, and I decided that I actually shot the regular plow grip a little better. And just something about it, even though my hand's so big and people didn't understand it, who would understand me anyway? And I actually, with the regular hammer and the plow grips, I don't know, it just feels better. And I cock it because I shoot one-handed anyway, and with, in the competition I did duelist. Anyway, I traded them and got 2 regular Rugers, and it kind of went on from there. A variety of guns. I got some Colts, a couple of Colts, ended up shooting Colts, but kind of miss those old Bisley Rugers, and I don't own a Vaquero. And I thought, I've been thinking for about a year or 2, I need a Vaquero. Do a video down there with a Vaquero. I mean, the world loves the Vaquero. How come I ain't got one? Because I like them fine too. I'm a little bit of a purist. I like the classic design, the Colt or Colt clones, but I like these 2, especially since I scaled them down. These are called I don't think it's in the name of this one, but the newer Rugers, the Vaqueros, are called the new Vaquero, right? Because the first ones were bigger. They were real tank. They were big, and which made them kind of more inauthentic as compared with Colts and Colt clones. When they scaled them down a little bit, how long has that been? Wow, 15, 20, a while, hasn't it? Not so new now, but they're more in line with the design, the size, the dimensions of the Colt clones. And I like these better. Yeah. So anyway, I decided to get one. Can I shoot it? I will. And I got to looking around. I've been thinking of one for a year or 2, and I don't know, what was it? Maybe it was not too long after the pandemic that you just couldn't find them. They become a little more plentiful, at least in the barrel length and the metal that you want. And I've noticed recently that you can find them more easily. You don't see a lot of them in gun shops, but you can find them online and around. And so I've been looking at them and thinking, I need one of those. I think I want a stainless one, maybe a long barreled one. I don't know. I wasn't sure, because I'd probably just have one. Never know though about me. And I came across this at the Buds website. And well, those are nice looking guns. I wonder if I still like a Vaquero Bisley at all. And I almost bought it, from Bud. Just ordered one. And looked around. I came so close just to buying it. I said, well, why don't I just borrow it and shoot it and see if I like it? And if I like it, I'll just order one, buy one. So that's kind of where I am. And I just picked it up literally about an hour and a half ago in Clarksville. Clarksville Guns and Archery. Buds right out of the box, has not been fired. I wonder if it's been fired. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't look like it has. Been cleaned up if it has. I haven't had the cylinder out on the workbench or anything, so we'll see. So again, don't forget, this is my disclaimer. This is a shoot and talk video. It's a Sunday video if you're new. All right, different sort of video. Don't forget the Hickok 45 Clips channel. Speaking of difference, John pulled out one clip over there. It's funny, where I'm actually talking about people getting unsubscribed and all that kind of thing. And it's so funny because so many people, I see comments over there, yeah, I wasn't subscribed. I just wasn't subscribed. And I hope those people realize they're on the 45 Clips channel, and I hope they're subscribed there. But I think some of them are probably thinking they're not subscribed, and they're thinking, oh, this is the Hickok 45 channel, the regular channel. But anyway, don't forget that. And last week too, Dad's Guns. A lot of great comments. A lot of you shared stories about your parents or some uncle or someone that you used to shoot with, and you have their guns and all that. I always enjoy those stories and those situations because I've been through that and I've lived it. Both guns, when I got back, I'd gotten a little smarter in my old age. Not a lot, but I had a lot of room to grow. But used to be more impulsive, probably, shorter tempered and everything. But I know my limitations, and I know the smart thing to do. And sometimes I actually do it. And that's why I didn't mess with them very much last Sunday. Got back over to my workbench, got them out there, and sprayed both of them with some ballistol and everything. Okay, now let me very carefully, the 22, I didn't do much with it at all, and I cocked it and had the bolt up or some kind of weird thing, and it just opened pretty much easily right up. Okay, took the empty out and went on. And actually I had a live one in there that had been struck, 2 or 3 times, but I was over here on the side. It wasn't like dangerous or anything. So I got the cylinder open and everything's fine. There was nothing broken, no problem with it. And then the other one, the Dad's 357 Magnum, I soaked it down, and then I gently picked it up and messed with it. I opened the gate, and I realized, oh, the base pin came out without any trouble. It wasn't in a bind. Got it out, and then the cylinder just sort of fell out, kind of in my hands, like, So got that one fixed. And the problem was what I suspected, and I think I mentioned, my recording, yeah, good, for me, maybe not for you, was well, the problem may be, I don't know if it's a gun or the ammo, so I answered a couple of people about that, but the primer was kind of backed out, mainly where it was hit. It was like the primer was pierced and kind of explode backwards as they do, and pooch backwards, and it doesn't take much at all if you got tight clearances there. And it was just hanging up the cylinder, the primer. And I don't notice sometimes if you have an irregular recoil shield and there's a dip in it or a hole or something, it doesn't take much to catch in it. I don't really notice that being a severe problem, but there's not much space between there at all, not nearly as much as that. And that's what was hanging it up. And I told somebody, I think I'm going to experiment. Maybe bring it out on Sunday, I don't know, but it just does that with hotter ammo, and maybe it's Federal ammo, not to pick on Federal just because they're not sponsoring more, but when I was competing and loading thousands and thousands of rounds, 45, whatever, ACP, I always use Winchester primers. I guess I got started using them just because that's what I found back in the 70s or something. But I noticed when I got into competition, there were people using Federal primers, and a lot of them would only use Federal primers. And so I realized the take on that was, the story was that Federal primers were softer than Winchesters, and some people were worried that the Winchester primer would go off, the hammer wouldn't hit it hard enough, and whatever the semi-automatic pistol was or whatever. and that Federals were maybe more reliable, or you wouldn't have that happen. But by the same token, they were softer, and you need to be a little more careful when you're loading. You don't want to be crunching them down. It seemed like whenever someone had a problem on their reloading press, their primer tray or something, a bunch of them, and they all went off, you know. It was, or in the tube, primer tube, it was Federal, because they're softer, you know, and people doing things they shouldn't have done. You know, they would get them in there, one hung up or something in the primer tube, which was like a big straw full of the primers, and they'd tap it to get try to fix it, whatever, and boom, it'd go off. I know it happened to a friend of mine we competed with, and he blew the end of his finger off. He's passed on now, but anyways, I was always careful about that because I wasn't aware of that Winchester primers were harder than Federal. They were softer. So you had two schools of thought. Some people preferred Winchester because of that, and some people preferred Federal because of that. Yeah. And so anyway, I'm wondering, long story, long way around the barn, if it's Federal primer, because there's not much clearance to begin with. So maybe that hammer hits harder, it's piercing some of the primers if they're softer. Maybe it's only Federal because that happened before. So maybe it's only with Federal Magnums, you know, like 357 Magnum, not 30 Special. Okay, so I'm going to bring out try to get a box of Federal or a box of some other brand, Winchester, whatever, the same power factor, basically, weight bullet and all that, and fire both and see if that's, I'll be a scientist, see if that's the issue. But anyway, cleared up, just simple, no problem. So, shall we partake? Let's try it, see, watch it not shoot. That's why I decided to bring another firearm out here. What if this is the only firearm I brought for Sunday morning, and yeah, doesn't work? Oh, okay, well, I'll just sit and talk at you for a while. We'll talk about what we're going to shoot next week, maybe. Okay, now this one, I'm going to go ahead and shoot 5, load 5. I could load 6, obviously. It's a Ruger, and you got the transfer bar and all that, firing pin block. You can load a Ruger safely, 6. I'm well aware of that, okay? So when I do that, it's not because I'm totally crazy. It's because I've just developed that habit and I want to stick with it. I've explained that before. All right. So here we go. Uh-oh, I forgot to bring a screwdriver in case I have to adjust the sights. Yeah, wasn't that funny? Well, let's see if it's accurate enough to hit the Alabama holster logo. We appreciate Alabama holster. We don't mean to shoot them. We're just going to shoot Alabama, not Alabama. Great manufacturer of little Kydex concealment holsters. I got one on me, 2 on me actually. Yeah. So we appreciate their support. Check them out if you haven't yet. All of you should own one. I don't know who would not have a use for a pocket holster or a belt holster. Kydex. See, I shot Alabama. The gun works. Let's shoot Alabama again. All right. Let's shoot SDI. All right, it fires at close range. I'm going to hold right on this black plate in front of me. Hey, guess what? I was holding right in the middle of it. You see where it hit? I'm going to try to hold there again. 1, 2. No, we got one more, don't we? That's it. Yeah, hit the same place there, more or less. Okay. And with this one, you just open up the loading gate and that frees the cylinder. So different from the classic action of a Colt or a Colt clone. For those who don't know. All right. So Ruger's gone through that same. The early Rugers are like the one I have, the Blackhawk. They have the same type of Colt action, where you're better off not to have the hammer down on a live or a cylinder with a round in it. You can do it, but it's safer not to. And Ruger actually got sued, I think back in the early 70s. Someone had a loaded Blackhawk, I think, on their truck seat. It slid off, hit the floor, shot them. killed them maybe, I think, I don't know, but anyway, I think they got a lawsuit involved or whatever went on. But so they changed the action. That's why those old guns are called the old Ruger Old Action, the Ruger New Action. And then when they came out with the Vaquero, I guess it's just the Vaquero, well, or the newer Blackhawks and the Vaqueros, they further improved them to where you just open up the loading gate to free the cylinders. You don't have cock it for anything like that. Okay. And but if you're at a cowboy match, you're in competition or anything like that, it doesn't matter whether you've got a Colt, an old Ruger, a new Ruger, a Vaquero, whatever the heck it is. You load 5, you skip 1. You know, that's just ingrained in you if you do any of that kind of shooting, and I stick with it. All right, so it works. You know, that reminded me as I was shooting that, and I said I'll shoot this black plate. Yeah, you can imagine occasionally you get a joke, a comment. It's not a joke with some people. Interesting how your targets are always black. You know, why are your targets black? And now some people are asking that, just a legitimate question. You know, why do you wear green shoes or something? But you just, you know, sometimes they're just race baiting, that kind of stuff. You know, there are people that look for racism under every rock, and if you're always looking for something, guess what? You'll find it. And so I just had a lot of experience shooting steel for decades and decades and decades. I tried lots of different colors, and you say red works okay, and it just depends on how the light is and where the targets are, how far away they are, and what you're shooting at them with, all these kinds of things. I tried lighter colors like beige, you've seen them, maybe yellow or white, and sometimes those lighter colors are good, depends on where the target is. If it's in the woods, white might be better sometimes. The thing is, a darker color like brown or black, and then black just covers better. The black paint just works better than any other dark color. It covers it so quickly and easily, and lots of it around is cheaper. But you see, when I was shooting that, it turns that into a paper target for me. I've talked about that before. I can use my target, my steel, to see where the gun hits, you know, where the sights are, and that sort of thing. And so what you're doing is you're putting gray on black. And sometimes it doesn't show up as well on other colors too. So that's one of the reasons. You can see the hits. You can see where you're hitting, because bootlets tend to leave a gray mark. So anyway, no charge for that. I know you're dying to know. Crazy world. Keep your sanity. Keep your sanity. Lots going on around the globe, right? Don't let it get you down. Keep hanging in there with what you got going on. There's not a lot you can do about a lot of it other than just be prepared as you can. What else was I gonna mention? Somebody left a comment about Sunday video maybe. Whoa, don't blow down. Saying, I hope I'm this happy in my retirement, you know, and I've seen comments like that about I've got the ideal retirement, or I hope I can retire that way. And I can only agree. I don't know if I'm really retired, if I'll ever retire, but I wholeheartedly agree. Yep, I've got a great retirement, or whatever you want to call it, and I'm well aware of it. So anybody who is envious should be. Now, it's a neat thing about, and not just my retirement, the neat thing about retirement gets a bad rap. You know, people they think of retirement as some old dude or woman, you know, in the rocking chair on the porch and not doing anything or whatever it is, or I don't know. We have all these images of what being retired is, and even what being old is, or older. And I tell you, you young people, middle-aged people, it's nothing to dread if you prepared it all. It's great. Think about every day is like a vacation. Every day's a Saturday, as they say. And how many jobs have you had in your life where you could decide what you wanted to do today, tomorrow, the next day, you know, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and so it's all the more reason to keep your health best you can, and be healthy and exercise, eat well, and all that, because yeah, it is great. Yeah, it may end tomorrow, But it's been great. What, 11 years since I quit teaching, and to be able to do whatever you want to do, man, I'll tell you, it's really quite worth being an older guy. It is. So yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. So let me load this thing up. 5 more rounds. This is, again, the Vaquero, the Bisley model, 45 Colt. We'll do a video with it, and this is cool. I'll decide. I wasn't sure I'd like the Bisley again. I was thinking about, I want to own a Vaquero, and so it'll either be probably this very model, or a stainless one with a standard grips, I guess. I don't really like the Ruger grips. I never have. I'm not sure what it is about the reddish wood, rubber, red wood combinations, and they just strike me as kind of ugly. Almost all of them. They really do. So I'll be changing the grips if I get one. Now these I like okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm picky, aren't I? All right. Let's throw one at the gong. See if I can get close to it. I knew that was low, I think. All right. I held up on it that time. I like it. I like it. How about Clyde again? Oh, well, got a flinch going on there. Can't believe I hit. All right. I save my flinches for the empty chamber. When I know the empty chamber's coming up, I like to flinch. Here we go. So, I like where the sights are. I hope if I buy one of these that the sights are right on like that. It'd be my luck, wouldn't it? I get to try one out, and then, because these go back regardless, you know, to buds. It's just the serial number's tied to it, and it goes, you know. So, then I can buy one just like it, of course. But yeah, I kind of like that. Got a little bit of a, is that dirt on the top strap? We have a, yeah, I got a little piece of, yeah, it's just dirt. I thought the metal was kind of deteriorated, and I was just a little dirt was in that little groove. Okay, pretty good, don't you think? Kind of like that. I mean, I am a little bit of a snob. I like the Colts, but I like this. This is a cute firearm. Now, and I do like the stainless, and for some reason, and the Vaquero for something better. All right. I could shoot since I got it dirty. But shooting, I brought the 625 out that I had one Sunday a while back, and I could shoot it again, or I could just shoot those. Just shoot the Ruger. Since it just came home from the shop. What else were they going to talk about? Anything important? You know, one thing in that one of the clips John pulled out, I think I was yakking from the reloading room. If you saw that clip, and I think that's the one, or somewhere. Oops, sorry about that. And I guess I won't shoot that paper. You know, I've talked about that before. How sometimes well, one thing I said, I guess it was in that one, was about, you know, if as long as people aren't bothering me, you know, not doing anything to bother me, you know, kind of live and let live, all that sort of thing. I was talking about sometimes you get problems when you're talking about the far right extremists and the far left extremists and all that kind of thing. And of course, that was like a 10-year-old clip, I guess. To further elaborate on that, because I've said that many times in my life, I'm not sure who's worse, the far right extremists or the far left extremists. But that's not quite as true to me in recent years. It's really not. And that used to be something that I just firmly believe the far right extremists, and there's some out there, of course, there's some of them that like to walk around with a KKK hood, right, and all that kind of, and do. But they seem to have, the numbers have dwindled tremendously. And the biggest problem today, in today's world, really, is with the extremists on the far left crazies. They don't get as much. It used to be the far crazy right was they wanted to control. They were into the control in a big way. They wanted to come into your house and your bedroom and control what you did, really. And there was one reason there was a lot of animosity towards the right of any type, really. But they are so much better behaved. It's just, it is most of the craziness is coming from the other side. So anyway, I'll clarify that, because in fact, I saw several people say, "Oh, it's not the far right," and it's a good point. The far right used to be guilty of a lot of what I considered misbehavior, but not so much anymore. And then the other thing was maybe that same conversation about just leave me alone, or I don't know what I said, but how if no one's affecting you or me, you let it ride, if it doesn't affect you or me, that kind of thing. And I saw several comments, people reacting to that, talking about but it's they're indoctrinating our kids, or doing this to our kids, they're in the schools, they're doing this, and so that affects me. That's right. So basically, I don't mean just me individually. If something doesn't affect me, okay, do your thing, just don't bother me. I mean, it might affect my family, my kids, my grandkids, my uncle, whoever, in a big way. So if it affects people in my family, or maybe my neighborhood, then it affects me. So I get that. I get that for sure. All right. That's from one of those diatribes where I was yakking about all sorts of things. Oh man, how can I not shoot the cowboy when I have a 45 Colt out here? Boy, that looks like right in the middle. So far I'm pleased. How about a hog kill? Yeah, I think that was it. All right, I like it. That's always dangerous when I pull out a gun that I like, because it means it may end up in my safe or one like it. All right, so pretty cool. I don't want to keep you all day. Do I have anything for young people? Probably not. Well, I'll tell you, this is kind of on the topic of what I was talking about. Be sure it's a tough economy, but you're saving everything you can, because you're going to be looking at retirement, like I was talking about, a time, and really the word retirement, again, has those negative connotations. I know it had for me when I was 20, 30, people talk about retirement. I don't really want to retire. That's my first image that comes to my mind is some creepy old people, walking, can't get around, I just do not live like that, it's just, it creates a negative image when you're healthy and 20 and 30 and climbing trees and running around, whatever you're doing. And don't think, though, in terms of retirement. Think in terms of just independence. Well, like I was talking about, what if you could snap your fingers, you won the lottery or whatever it would take, and starting next week, you don't have to go to work again, and you can just kind of do what you want. Maybe you work just as much, or maybe you volunteer every day or 2 days a week, or you just travel and do what you want to do. You sit on the porch and read. I mean, just think of it that way. Don't think of it in terms of being an old person, barely can get around, and retired, because the people maybe a lot of aren't, who are retired, it's like, oh, the end of my life, I'm not gonna worry about saving money for the old years of my life. I want to enjoy it while I can. Well, stay healthy, you'll be able to enjoy it. You'll be able to really enjoy your time, really. And some people, they save so well, It depends on what their job is and their career, but they're able to retire when they're 50 or something. And, you know, they've got the rest of their life, if they've invested well at all, to draw from that and do whatever the heck they want. You imagine when you're 40 or 50 or 55 and you got another 30, 40, 50 years to do whatever you want to do every day, you know, within reason. But I mean, so think of it in terms of independence, financial freedom, or just independence, and work towards that. One thing I have done for many decades is I was thinking in terms of, okay, how much money do I have? Not that I lost sleep over it. I should have lost more sleep earlier on over it, but I would think, okay, if I lose this job or change jobs, I can get by for 2 weeks or 2 months or 5 months or whatever. Okay, you know, we all do that, I think, to an extent. And so plan and think about it that way. You know, how long could I get by financially if I lost all income tomorrow? And that kind of tells you where you are. Yep. You do that every now and then. You know, assess your net worth. What's my net worth? And how long could I live a normal life without working as I sit here today? That kind of tells you whether you're on track or whether you're doing anything, or whether you're better get busy. You know, it really does. Could you go 6 months? Could you go a year? Could you go 2 years? How about 5? Yeah. You know, at some point, when you are 65 or 70, maybe you're not even going to be able to work a lot or do the job you've got. That job doesn't exist anymore, whatever it might be. And you may be faced with having to go 20, 30 years without income other than Social Security, if that's even around, that kind of thing. So anyway, think in terms of that. Don't think of just being an old woman or an old man. Think about the goal of being independent. That's more inviting, I think, to me. So don't forget, keep that in mind. It's a good place to be when you can set your schedule and do what you want. It really is. All right, I like that gun. So I've learned something here. I thought I wanted a Vaquero, and I think I'm pretty sure now. And probably the Bisley. Probably. You do see the difference. Yeah, big old grip. Now, I don't know that it gets in the way or is a problem if you have normal size hands at all. And then the hammer, I'll tell you one reason it doesn't matter. When they designed this, actually, Colt's one came up with this years ago, but more of a competition design, I think. The hammer's different. If you notice, if I had a Colt out here or a regular Vaquero, where the hammer's longer and comes up kind of like that, this one is lower, it's back. So if you have small hands, you can get to the hammer more easily. In fact, some people take a friend of mine did that, a regular Vaquero, and they install, if they don't have particularly large hands, or they want to just be able to reach the hammer more easily, they put a Vaquero hammer on their standard Vaquero. Now for me, I really do prefer that because I got the big hands, long thumb and all that, so I can reach the regular hammer just fine, although this one is down a little better contour. So 45 Colt, and this is a Ruger. So there would be, I don't know how powerful a round you can shoot. I never give that kind of advice because I'm not sure what advice I should give. I don't give any advice about loads and all that kind of thing. You do your own research, but it would handle probably a little stronger ammo than a Colt would, or a Colt clone. Which reminds me, here's something, we'll end with this. I brought some of the Underwood 250 grain extreme penetrators out, 45 Colt. So this is just 1,000 feet per second and 250 grain, so it's not some grizzly round necessarily, although this would probably work on a grizzly. I mean, you can get 500 or 300 grain bullets, 310 grain bullets, and probably trucking it, I don't know, 12, 13, 1400 feet per second. If you've got a Marlin or something that's okay to shoot that in, maybe this, I don't know. But this is warmer than anything I've been shooting. And it will definitely penetrate, although I don't really have anything to test it with. Oh, I'll tell you one thing I did, I hadn't told you all, I should have brought it out. That bullet, that cute bullet, I found one of those on the main range, just lying on the ground a few weeks ago. And I traced it back to like the day before or so when, what was I shooting? Might have been this thing in a video, which I guess we haven't posted that yet, as you see this, maybe. But, and I shot a bowling pin, and that's the only way it would be lying on the ground without any marks on it, really at all, hardly. So it didn't hit steel. It must have gone through that bowling pin and just barely got out onto the ground, or the bowling pin fell and then it fell out onto the ground, and it's intact. I've got it in the barn. So anyway, I know you're dying to know about that bullet I found, right? All right, speaking of that, let's penetrate a bowling pin. Oh, I should have shot the steel behind it. I'm going to see if I can put one in the cowboy through this 2-liter. Gotta get way down. I accomplished my goal. Should we let's put a penetrator on the gong. Now watch me miss on my last shot. All right, I hit on my last shot. That's good. I can quit on a hit. All right. Yep, that was all of them. So, Ruger Bisley Vaquero is pretty neat. Now, don't y'all rush and buy them all up. I want to order one myself. I better order it quickly before y'all see it. No, I wish I had that effect, right? Wouldn't matter if I did. You know, we don't work for gun companies, as I say often, remind people, and that offers me so much freedom. I can brag and complain and all that, and I don't have to think about that at all. That was one of the things that bothered me the most. The time on Facebook, I think I made the post. It was after the Las Vegas shooting, and I talked about that. I made the comment about it looked like we were going to end up losing semi-automatics. I mean, it was a crazy time that week, and I was seeing my picture on the paper on the news over and over, juxtaposed with I was shooting a bump stock, you know, because that's what the guy supposedly used and all this kind of thing. So they found my video, had me shooting a bump stock while they're talking about gun control, all this kind of crazy stuff. And once they decided, or the NRA finally came out with a comment about it, I was kind of relieved, and I posted, you know, too quickly, I guess, said something about it, because I said I wasn't, it's great, because I wasn't willing to give up my guns or semi-automatics for a bump stock, or, you know, wasn't the hill I was going to die on for bump stocks and lose everything else, or what. However I said it, may not have been very, very good, but that was what bothered me the most about that, was the fact that it looked like I was just, the only reason I made the comment, probably, I don't know if anybody said that, but it was because we were sponsored at the time by the NRA, and it was the furthest thing from my mind. I was just thinking the NRA is the big voice at that time to log in on this or weigh in on it and all that kind of thing. So anyway, we take great care in who we are sponsored by and who we have affiliations with, you know, so we can stay free and speak freely. Okay, so I like that. I don't know why that does appeal to me more than the ones I had, because those things were large. They were large. I don't know what the difference in dimensions are. Some of you may have one of the original Vaquero, you may know, but just a bigger cylinder. And I guess the frame was bigger. They were massive things. I think they were 7.5 inch too, the ones I had. They were beautiful. They were beautiful. Just like me. I'm beautiful. So I appreciate your support, and I will see you hopefully next Sunday right here, and it might even be greener. At least the green leaves might be bigger. Ticks might be bigger as well. So I got some grief about ticks. Then they jump out of the trees. I don't think they jump out of the trees necessarily. They're not big jumpers. What happens is they get on leaves or on weeds or whatever it is, and if you're walking by raking that leaf, and I think they do, they get it. If there's one of the leaves right here, the wind, they know you're there. You know, that's their whole life, is to find blood. You know, that's their whole life. So I don't know if they hear you, see you, whatever, they know you're coming around. Maybe they let loose and hope they fall on you, or they, if you rake across a weed, a leaf, a limb coming out in the trail or whatever, you know, then they end up on your shoulder from that, or whatever it is. But I don't lose sleep over them. I don't. I use my deterrent, you know, my Avon products, and that works pretty well. I think I had one tick stuck on me last year. Yeah, I think that was about it. So it's also the reason I mow the trails. I was on the tractor yesterday, went to all the trails and the areas where I generally walk, and like right here. So I'm rarely in grass, you know, that's more than that, about like the yard. So anywhere I'm walking in the summertime, spring, it's going to be leaves, or kind of like my yard most. So I'm not going to have weeds up and walking in weeds up to my knee. There's no reason to. Now there's lots of areas where that kind of stuff is, but it's kind of off the trail, and you know, and I know it's tick laden, so no need to go into that area in the summertime. If I'm gonna go down to the creek or way down deep into the woods and some of the steep areas, I do it in the wintertime. I don't really have a reason to go down there in the summertime. To the far recesses of the earth on my property anyway. So y'all have a good week. And I guess I'll find my target there on the ground, and I will bring out another one next week on Sunday. This is the 21st, so be the 28th. So going to be in May before you know it. And again, the NRA meeting is coming up, and the exhibits. So hope to see all there in Dallas. We'll do meet and greets, at least a couple there, probably at well, definitely at Silencer Central, and that's tentatively set for about 11 o'clock that morning on Saturday. And then we'll probably do the Sonoran Desert Institute, okay? But I'll let you know, okay? So anyway, hope to see you there. I know if you've got a real problem with the NRA, I think you have to join to get in. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm a life member, so I can't get out. And well, it's where all the gun companies are and exhibitors and all that, and so it's where I see a lot of you, and it's a great place to do the meet and greet. So, you know, either way, whoever's having that kind of event, you know, we will try to attend that, right? So that's what that's about. And I'm gonna go clean some guns. Maybe I'll take a couple of shots with this, since I got it dirty, just so I wouldn't be shooting the Vaquero and you all not know that it was the first shot. So it's just the way I am. Weird. Life is good.